Hey y'all, I'm your host, Aaron Smith of the Offshore Marine Service Association. Each Friday, I'll bring you the Offshore Briefing, a quick rundown of the week's notable developments, updates, and news you need to know in the offshore space. Whether you're on deck or at your desk, we're glad you're here. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Offshore Briefing by Maritime in America. I am your host, Aaron Smith with AMSA, and I have my AMSA colleagues with me, Ashley and Angel. How are y'all doing?
Just lovely. Excited about this holiday weekend.
Yes, doing good today.
And I looking around the table, I'm now the only AMSA employee that does not wear glasses, apparently. So
Also, we're both not wearing shoes.
Jesus. This has happened.
And you're the only one
Wait,
without a
with just
jacket.
glasses and no shoes.
Yeah, I'm also the only one. In July,
It's cold, although I do wish I had socks because my feet are frozen.
Oh, I have some.
Yeah, I'm going to have to bring some socks. Just for when I take my shoes off.
this actually, and we'll have to go back and make sure I didn't tell this story on the podcast, but when I worked for Congressman Jeff Landry, I came out of the ledge pit, which all the ledge staffers were, and our staff assistant who sat at the front desk, who was from New Iberia, was not wearing any shoes. And then I was like, God, put some damn shoes on. And then our scheduler, who was from Homa, came out. She was not wearing shoes. And then our chief of staff, who was from our Monroe, not Mobile, Monroe, came out and he was not wearing shoes. And I was like, geez, what sort of people am I working with? What did my wife drag me into? And then the congressman came out of his office and he was not wearing shoes. I think I was like one of 3 people in the office that day actually wearing shoes. And apparently that's
Same
still
thing.
accurate.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Well, that's great. We're just proving the couthness of Louisiana people here.
Yep.
So
Well, I remember, a side note, I remember one episode you mentioned that, and I tried to dispel it, but today is a different story.
so I have told this out. We need to cut it.
No, I don't think you told that story, but
Okay.
go ahead.
All right. Well, then, Ashley, what do you want to talk about today?
I would like to talk about how the Coast Guard launches Commercial Vessel Program to deliver faster, more effective fleet support.
Yeah.
And they've awarded a contract to Offshore Marine.
Yes.
I'm a member.
Yes. And I'm a board member, Toot Wes. Also, all around great guy.
Yes.
Although, if he's listening, we haven't seen you in a while, Wes. You have to come to more of our meetings.
Yeah.
I'm officially calling you out. Anyway, it's a huge deal. It talks about how the contract supports the Coast Guard's Homeland Security Cutter Ocean Initiative. It's to strengthen the fleet readiness by using commercially operated vessels for logistics. I just think that's such a great move from the Coast Guard's part, and what perfect time now that we're with Jones Act waiver conversations to show that our fleet is ready, willing, able to do not only just commercial stuff, with oil and gas, but also to help our domestic capabilities.
So as I hope everyone saw, and as I hope our membership saw, that we had a op-ed penned that was in the Washington Examiner earlier this week about looking at a case study of our industry and what our industry has faced with CBP letter rulings, and applying that to the broader Jones Act waivers, and looking about how the Jones Act letter rulings effectively serve as small little Jones Act waivers, and how what has happened then is where those waivers or where those letter rulings don't affect the OSV market, we had a very flourishing OSV market. Where they do affect the subsea construction market, we didn't have vessels until 2009 when CBP said, hey, we've gotten the law wrong. We're going to go and revoke those letters. And unfortunately, they lost their nerve and lost their courage and decided to, oh no, we can't do that. And they pulled that notice back. But because it looked like they were going to better enforce the law, people built subsea construction vessels in the United States. And now one of those vessels is working for the Coast Guard because it is infinitely capable
Correct.
And so you have a vessel which is providing, its usual job is to provide economic security and energy security for the United States, but is also now providing homeland and national security. That's what the Jones Act is
Yes.
supposed to do.
So I just think this is a great step in the right direction, and it needs to be highlighted more than it already is. Like I think it's a big deal, and it's not really being talked about.
Yeah, no one has tied the two issues
Right?
together.
I mean, if I can tie them together, everyone should be able to tie them together.
I tied it together.
So yeah,
Because it's like, duh, we told you all along we could do this.
mm-hmm.
Two things. If you look up American Maritime, you should find that article that Aaron mentioned, that Aaron wrote. And also to my point or to Ashley's point about connecting everything, this is a future plug for next week. It is important because it is a good way to strengthen the maritime industry by leveraging the commercial side of it because they're already out there doing it. But yeah, I'll talk about that more next week.
Leaving you hanging.
No, if you remember back, I went and I looked. We talked about this when it was just an RFP back in January, and when we talked about it, the specs for the vessel were meetable. That's not a word. Were able to be accomplished by literally hundreds of vessels in the U.S. fleet, in the U.S. offshore energy fleet. It really, I think probably the crane was like the one thing that was a little bit outside the norm. Of the stores crane was a little bit larger than what most vessels was, but the rest of it was, having a medical space. You have to have that as a sub-I vessel. Potable water, space for back deck space for equipment, and secure space for other stuff. Personnel berthing, very small. Fuel, not really a huge fuel requirement. Potable water, not a huge requirement. Really just something that a lot of vessels in the U.S. fleet could meet. And we talked about that in January. So I'm glad to see that.
But you know what? The specifications, and you bring this up, and maybe I'm just naive and not as well versed or knowledgeable as you, but I kind of feel like whenever someone throws a specification at our guys and gals in the industry, that they're like, hold my beer. I can add that on. I can do something. So It's like, really, what are specifications? Like, meh, I can meet it.
No, you are right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I'm trying to think. Our daughter's soccer club, when you ask them a question, they're like, nope, this is how we do it. We can't change it all. I'm like, but there's a gray area. We could change it a little bit. And they're like, no, this is what we have to do.
No, it is offshore energy
Yes,
vessels.
I'm throwing them under the bus. I hope they're all listening.
Offshore energy vessels are very customizable. They are built as a blank slate.
And I love that.
Yes.
Because it goes with the flow of our members and how they are.
If you build
Get the job done.
And that is not seen across the rest of the maritime industry.
No.
If you build a tanker, it's
Correct.
a tanker. If
Correct.
you build
a tug, it's a tug.
Yeah, a ro-ro vessel. Yeah. It's a ro-ro vessel. I just like
ro-ro.
I knew you were going to go that. Yeah. But we just gave a presentation to state energy officials on the East Coast. And that was one of the things we talked about was like, I had multiple slides of a vessel like the HOS Mystique, that here it is as a regular pickup truck. Then they added this crane. Then they added all of these berths, and they added ROVs, and they added a bigger crane. And you could see the vessel didn't look anything like what it looks like now.
No.
Because
it doesn't need to be. Yeah.
And it could go back to being a pickup truck tomorrow. So I love that about our industry. Yeah, no, you're exactly right. When someone says,
well, it doesn't meet the specifications, I'm like,
I like that response. Hold my beer.
Yeah, hold my beer. I'll add that to it,
Actually, do you remember
But you can't drink and drive a boat. Just throwing that out there. I'm not.
Please don't.
Please don't.
In the U.S. flag.
Or a car, or really anything.
A lot of international vessels have bars on them.
That's great, but you don't need to be drinking and driving a boat.
Yes.
Yes. That's what happened in Italy, right?
You remember, yes. Well, that and trying to impress a woman.
Right.
Yes.
Stupid men. Do y'all want me to go on my diatribe about dumb men?
Wow. just angry today.
No, because my knee hurt is throbbing right now.
We talked
Oh.
about tone beforehand.
Correct. My tone. You're right, Angela. Well, actually, it's not really my tone; it's my words. It's totally different.
Oh.
I'm smiling as I say it.
No, I was, you remember in Hurricane Maria when, Adriatic turned what was then their vessels, the Hermes, turned it
Yeah.
into a roll-on, roll-off
Yep.
vessel in a
It
weekend.
was so cool. I
Yeah,
remember that.
cut off the back,
Yep.
put on a giant ramp
It was
in
awesome.
a weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah, we still have pictures on our Instagram if you want to see that. Really cool. So, hey, this is all kind of ties into what I want to talk about as well. I happened to see a really cool post, and I hope he ends up finding this and hearing this, and I hope he isn't embarrassed. I saw a gentleman named Jonathan Rucker, who was graduated last year from Texas A&M Maritime with a master's, and while there, got his mariner's credential, his Coast Guard third mate unlimited license, and for those, everyone in our industry will know, but for those adjacent
You
to
need
our
to say, what is it? Who do they use? His sister?
what?
Smartless?
Oh,
Tracy.
oh yeah,
That's what you need to
Yeah.
start saying when you explain things.
we're just going to adopt their shorthand.
Correct.
Okay. No, for those adjacent to our industry,
Tracy.
an unlimited license means he can sail on a vessel of any tonnage anywhere in the world. His license is not limited to near coastal or to inland rivers or to anything else, and of any tonnage. So he could sail a vessel that's 100 tons or something that's 3,600 tons. So he has a full unlimited license. And right now he's working for Edison Schwest, and he's working up to from his third mates to his second mates. And it is important because not everyone in the maritime industry writ large, they think of our segment of the industry as only being small vessels, 100-ton, 500-ton, and they don't think that our mariners have unlimited licenses. But here's an example of someone who has an unlimited license. And why is this important? Because if you go to war, you need mariners to serve in the Ready Reserve Force, which is the mariners that then go on to the military sealift command vessels that transport the military cargo overseas. So we need mariners like Jonathan to be in the commercial service, so they're there when we need at wartime.
As someone who reviews applications, we have plenty of mariners who are like unlimited.
Yes. So I just saw that post from Jonathan. I thought that was cool that, a year after graduating, and he did, this is, again, he was an LSU grad for undergrad. He would then got his master's while also getting his Coast Guard license. That's really cool. And then saw that he's working in the oil service, working on a vessel for Edison Schwest. I thought that was really cool. But then, unfortunately, contrasted that with an interview I saw in Workboat with MARAD Administrator Stephen Carmel. And it was disappointing because the interview was about the entirety of the U.S. maritime industry, but completely neglects the offshore industry and neglects that, and apparently seems to miss that the Maritime Administration, whose job it is to promote the U.S. maritime industry writ large, doesn't seem to understand the benefits that are provided by the U.S. offshore industry, such as the Coast Guard Commercial Cutter Program, which is supporting our white boat fleet, the Coast Guard cutter fleet, but with commercial vessels, such as Mr. Rucker, who is an unlimited licensed mariner working on a offshore energy vessel. And, looking at the article, mentions the inland industry 15 times, mentions the Great Lakes industry 5 times. Do you know how many vessels, and no offense to my friends in the Lake Carriers Association, but you know how many vessels are in the U.S. Great Lakes fleet? 51.
Yeah.
You know how many, like, we have at least.
There is no offense to them, because when marriage we talking, they should be talking about all segments of the
Exactly.
maritime industry.
Yeah, and repeatedly says from inland to deep sea, inland to blue water. Does just mentions that there's this segment that we have. There are more than 1,000 offshore energy vessels in the U.S. flag fleet that are staffed with commercial mariners who have unlimited licenses. We should be focusing upon that. And I would really like it if MARAD would focus upon that and recognize the importance of this industry. And look, I've met with MARAD 4 times this administration. I think I've asked to eat with them probably another 10 times. I think we're doing our part in reaching out. It's just, they got to recognize that this is part of the industry here.
Part of the wording is the inland waterways and Great Lakes have not gotten the attention they deserve.
Yes.
Well, so is
well, let's talk about the
our
segment
industry?
that we don't even, that isn't even mentioned. Yes. So hopefully Administrator Carmel hears this and hears the request that it is being offered in, that there's a great resource sitting right here in the Gulf of America that is begging to be utilized. We'd love to host you. Come down to Fushan. Let's see.
Yeah.
Let's have you talk to some of the people who are in this industry and see what a great resource that it is. So hopefully we can make that happen. So that was what I saw this week, kind of 2 things that I wanted to tie together there, and talk about the importance of. Anything else that we have for this week?
I have just a little short, fun thingy to do.
Thingy.
So I have a question, and then I know it's 2 truths and a lie, but we're going to do 3 truths and a lie. So first question. Has the 4th of July always been a paid federal holiday?
No.
Well, I mean, I guess that was an easy one. So yes, false.
I just assume no because it should be, so that's why it's a no.
So Congress made the 4th of July an unpaid holiday in 1870, and then they made it a paid one in 1938. So that's just a fun fact for you. And then 3 truths and a lie. Okay, so the Gulf produces 15% of total U.S. crude oil production. Louisiana produces more crude oil than any other Gulf state's offshore waters. The 4th of July fireworks started with the actual cannon and gun salute on ships in the 1770s. And then last, shrimp boats are legally required to fly an American flag on the 4th of July.
The last one. I mean, I know it's not true, but in Louisiana it is.
That's correct. The last one is not true. However, they usually do that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Really? Fishing vessels are not required to fly a flag?
Shrimp boats.
Shrimp boats.
Well,
And I just am picturing Louisiana people.
Well, I was assuming that they would fly the flag every day because most commercial vessels have to fly a flag.
I saw in the beginning of the FIFA World Cup, I saw like a tinfoil hat line going everywhere like you do, Aaron, that the U.S. could possibly play England on the 4th of July. How amazing would that have been? Wouldn't that have been awesome?
Yeah. No, it
could have happened. I mean, it's not going to happen, but it could have happened.
No, I'm thinking, because the 2 groups, it would have been the second in each group. Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
That is
anyway.
funny, yes.
Yeah. I thought the most interesting is that the fireworks tradition started with cannons and guns on ships, by the way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did, actually, John Adams thought that it would be the 2nd of July that would be the holiday, because that was the day that the resolution was proposed. It was then ratified on the 4th. But he had said this will be a day that will have parades and pomp or some quote like that. So yes, John Adams, once again, wrong, as he was so many times.
Nice history lesson for y'all.
Very good, yes.
As y'all go into the holiday weekend.
Well, I hope that everyone enjoyed this week's episode of the Offshore Briefing. Like we always say in the outro, or like Ashley always says in the outro, please follow, subscribe, like, do all the things. I can't remember all the things you're supposed to do, but do all.
I didn't even know I'm in the outro. That's good to know.
All right. Be safe.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
That wraps up another episode of Maritime in America. We're proud to highlight the voices and stories that keep the American offshore industry strong. Thanks for spending a few minutes with us, and remember, the course ahead is shaped by those who step up and steer it. If you liked what you heard, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Tune in every Friday for your offshore briefing, and don't miss our next full episode, dropping soon with a very special guest, Mariner's Perspective. Catch you next time.